Hello everyone, and welcome to part 3 of the Abstract Forest album. So today I'm going to be creating a cover for this. We've already finished everything else, so I'm going to be making a cover. So my plan is to use some air dry modeling clay. Okay, so I just got this from Amazon. I don't know, this is the only one that I've tried, so this is the only one that I know, so I can't tell you whether other ones are better or not, but this is what I tried, and it seems to work great. So I'm going to use some air dry clay and create a couple trees going up and around with maybe some mushrooms and some leaves and such, and make a clay cover. So I'm going to use air dry clay and I'm going to glue it directly onto the cover. If you have polymer clay instead, you can use colored polymer clay and just put it, like create a sheet of polymer clay and then put everything on that and then bake it and then adhere the entire thing to the cover. I'm going to do it directly onto the cover. I do have some very basic molds here. If you don't have molds, it's fine. You don't really need them. You can just cut out your own little leaves and cross-hatch some veining in them. And I've got some very basic supplies. I've got a little acrylic roller and a cutting blade and just a couple random little bits and pieces, some pokey tools and some brushes, and very basic. You can use whatever you can find around the house to create this. So my plan is to create the trees and such and then paint them and then go over them with like a glazing kind of technique and see how that goes. Alright, so alright, I'm gonna put some music on and I'm going to get started and see how this goes. So I'm just going to glue on my basic shapes and kind of mold them and work them while they're on the cover. Whether or not that's the way to do it, I don't know. I'm kind of winging it here and hoping for the best. Because once it's on there, so let's hope that I don't mess up my cover. If you have an embossing folder that has like a leaf grain texture, you can try using it and see how that goes. You could use stamps. That's not as detailed as I like, so I'm just gonna go in with some tools to make some texture, I think. Okay, so I have it mostly the way I want it. I've got a whole bunch of leaves up there. I added a few little like kind of creeper vines to the trees. And then down here I added a couple ferns. And then I made a couple little mushrooms that I'm gonna paint. And then I think I might add maybe just a couple more leaves. And maybe one of those like, what do you call them? The little fronds that curl? I don't know what they're called. I'm just gonna take a little piece and kind of roll it out thin. And then kind of twirl, like make the end of it kind of a spiral. That. I think I'm going to do 2 of these. Okay, so now I'm going to paint this. I've got a variety of paints. They're all just from the dollar store. They're not fancy paints. So I've got some red, some green, black, and a couple kind of brown tones. So I'm going to paint all my pieces, and then I'm going to use some Stamperia Vintage Antiquing Paste and some Art Alchemy waxes to go over top of the paints. So if you see me painting something black and you're like, what is she doing? That's what I'm doing. I'm going to use the waxes afterwards. So don't panic if you see something that you think shouldn't be black going black. That's why. Okay, so I am just going to kind of speed through this and just start painting. Okay, so once you have everything painted, then I'm going to take this vintage antique and glaze from Stamperia and kind of brush it all over. With the painting, make sure to like change the angles and everything just to make sure you get into all those little white bits. Like, oh, I still missed some white bits up there. There's so many different angles and crevices, so really try and like maneuver it around. Move it around so you get all the angles. With the leaves, I used all three of the greens and just kind of like, because I wanted it to look like there was like sunlight coming through the leaves. So I just like did all three colors and then both the shades of brown on the trees just to try and give it a little bit of depth. Okay, so now I'm just going to squirt some of this in and okay, so on the leaves, I felt like the brown just straight up was a little bit too dark, so I've mixed some of the lighter green in with some of the brown glaze, and I'm just going over the leaves. So you put some on, and then you take a baby wipe, and you wipe the excess off, and so what that does is it kind of gets into all the crevices and gives a little bit of dimension to all the little veining and everything on the leaves. I might lighten up the leaves again because I don't want them, I want those to be the lightest part, and now they're looking a little bit too dark, so I might add some more of the light green paint to these as well. But the brown will work great in bringing out some details in the tree trunks for sure, so I'm going to do that. So you just kind of wipe it, put it on, and then wipe it back off, and it'll just stay in all the little crevices. Alright, so I'm just going to continue and go over the whole piece like this. I decided I wanted some of the veining on the ferns and stuff to pop a bit more. So I'm going to put on a tiny bit of an aged brass. Almost like the sun is kind of dappling in on them. I feel like the key to this is kind of all about layers. Just building up the layers. I've added a little bit of green on the trees to hopefully simulate moss. And I think that looks pretty good. I think I'm done. I'm just going to use a Posca pen on the mushrooms. And I think I'm done. I'm just going to wait for it to completely dry. And then I'm going to spray it with some Krylon Kamar varnish just to seal it. And then it is all done. Whoop whoop. I hope that you enjoyed this whole album tutorial, and I hope you gave the clay cover a try. I mean, if you didn't, that's fine too. You can just do a normal paper cover, but I like to try things, new things sometimes. I might put a title in there, but I haven't quite decided. It looks like it needs something, but I haven't quite decided what yet. I hope you love it, and I hope you're having an amazing day, and I hope to see you again soon. Sending you huge hugs. Bye!